Good morning. Happy Thursday. It is 10 o'clock. It's time for the hospitality hotline. And as promised, this week is all about new baby hospitality. And when I, when I put out the call for questions, I was not prepared for how many people were going to throw really excellent questions our way. So what I've done, I'm so sorry, I've got something in my throat. What I've done is I have divided these into two audiences of people that are asking questions. There is a list of questions from people who are the ones actually having the baby, and then there's a list of questions from people who are wanting to serve the person who has had the baby. So we're going to start today by talking to the people who are actually having the new baby. And let me start, so sorry, it's so unprofessional, but it's real. I have a cough. Let's start by this. I have 4 children. If you don't know this about me, I have 4 children. I had 4 children in 6 years. So they are 6 years apart. I have 2 sets of pretty close together children. So we had 2 within 15 months, took a 3-year break, and we had 2 within 21 months. And if there's anything I want you to hear about the answers to these questions today, there is not a one-size-fits-all answer for any of these questions. As much as you and I want there to be this golden nugget that we can apply to any situation that I'm going to bring up today, you and I both need to remember there's not a one-size-fits-all answer. There just isn't. So a lot of these questions, I can hear the desperation almost for there to be this simple, easy fix. And the reality is having a baby is a mess. It creates a mess. It turns things upside down. If you're the one having the baby, you may turn into someone you don't recognize. If you are the friend of someone having a baby, or the mother, or the mother-in-law, or the sister, or the husband, like everything gets turned upside down for a season. And it comes back. It does. It comes back. But we all need to remember that there is not a one-size-fits-all because it's highly unpredictable. And if we're looking at this whole topic through the lens of hospitality, then we need to engage our heart and remember that most of the time, if we are serving someone who has just had a baby, this is not about us. If we've just had a baby, we need to remember that you are allowed to feel the things you're feeling, to advocate for yourself, for your child, for what you want. And the common thread is that nobody wants to be seen as rude. Almost every single one of these questions that I got from the person having the baby had the phrase, how do I not rudely fill in the blank? How can I politely fill in the blank? There is this desire for us to be seen as kind and polite and not rude, but to still ask for what we want and need. And today, that's where we're gonna tread. So let's start with this. This was the question that launched this whole idea. I got this question last week and it's so fabulous. Let's start here. This is from a mom. With baby number 3 coming, so she's got 2 kids, she's having baby number 3. Is it rude to ask parents to get a hotel room when they visit when we first get home instead of all being on top of each other? And should we pay for it? Okay, here is the anthem for today. Here is the mantra for today. Anything can be presented in a way that is not rude. It is never rude to ask for what you want if you do it in a polite and kind and firm way. Kind is clear. Brene taught us that. So if I'm going to make some assumptions about this, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but if your home does not have the room to accommodate 2 additional adults comfortably when you bring a new baby home, and if you, as a new mother who has already birthed 2 children and knows kind of what it's going to be like the 3rd time, if you do not want people staying in your home, then you do not have to have people staying in your home. It is not rude to ask for what you need. It is rude to not say what you need, but then be passive aggressive and mad the whole time because you really didn't want them to stay in your home, but you didn't want to say anything because you didn't want to be perceived as rude. That's not serving anyone. Now, There are so many things that need to be navigated in this situation. Is it your parents or is it your husband's parents? Do you have a good relationship with them? Does he have a good relationship with them? Are they good at respecting boundaries? Are they not good at respecting boundaries? Have they stayed in your home the last couple times? Or is it like, are you rocking the boat with this request? Like, so many extra things to consider. But the nugget at the heart of this is you need to communicate with them kindly, firmly. Don't feel bad. Don't apologize for wanting to communicate what it is that you need, because no one else knows what you need except you. It's your job to ask for what you need. You may not get it, but it is your job to ask for what you need. So I don't think in this situation, making a few assumptions, I don't think it's rude to ask parents to get a hotel. I think if you're going to ask them to do that, and that is something different, it might be gracious of you to offer to pay for that. I think probably if I'm making assumptions, which is never smart, but that set of parents probably wants two things. They want to experience the birth of their third grandchild. They want to be there for it. And that's something that we all want. We want them to be able to experience that. And then they probably also want to be of service to you and your husband in this time. I'm going to think the best of people and assume that's why they want to be here. Staying in a hotel does not preclude any of that. In fact, how fun. Maybe they could take the two older kids to the hotel pool. Maybe they could spend the night with grandma and grandpa one night in a hotel. Like, maybe they could serve your family by doing that. But the heart of this question is it rude to ask? It is not rude to ask. So I want to encourage you, if you are in this situation, to ask for what you need clearly and kindly, and then navigate that well with your family and your loved ones and see what happens. Okay, next question. This is like a triad of questions, which made me laugh, and I love it so much, but very, very well put. Question number 1 is, how do you politely tell people not to touch my baby? How do you politely tell someone to drop food off, but please don't come inside? And question 3, how do you kindly tell those people who don't pick up on my concern in question 2 to leave your home once they have overextended their stay? This is a seasoned mom. She knows. She's had this happen. So let's start with number 1. How do you politely tell people not to touch your baby? By saying politely, please don't touch my baby. And I was thinking about this morning. I 100% understand that is easier said than done. I have held a baby that someone has tried to touch, and the last thing I want to be perceived as is rude or mean or unkind, and it feels rude and mean and unkind to look at someone who's like, oh, look at the baby, and they go for their face and don't touch him. Like, you just feel like this angry, bitter person, and you want to be kind and sweet. Listen up. If you don't want people to touch your baby, you're going to have to tell them, please don't touch. It's real easy. You're going to have to tell adults, please don't touch. You're going to have to tell children, please don't touch. Please don't touch. Just start saying the phrase right now. If you're pregnant and you're having a baby, please don't touch. With a smile on your face and a light, please don't touch. Like, you can say this. If you don't want people to touch your baby, you're going to have to ask them not to touch their baby. Because if they start touching your baby, it's your job to say, please don't touch my baby. Or be quiet and just bury the resentment inside, but that's not pretty either. So please don't touch. 3 words. Oh, thank you. Please don't touch. Like, there's a way to do this. You can keep the baby in the car seat, but someone is going to try to touch your baby. You don't need to apologize. You don't need to explain. You are a new mother with a fresh baby. If you don't want people to touch your baby, that is perfectly okay. And just say, please don't touch. Oh, thank you so much. I love it. Yes, thank you. Please don't touch. Like, there is just a way to do this. It's not easy, but it's pretty straightforward and simple. Try the phrase, please don't touch. Okay, the second question, how do you politely tell someone to drop food off, but please don't come inside? Karen, thank you so much for offering to bring us dinner tonight. Listen, I am beat. Please drop that food off on the porch. I can't wait to connect with you in person soon. Again, it's kind of like expanding the please don't touch with more words in perhaps a paragraph. Thank them for what they're doing. Tell them that you're so appreciative. You cannot, this is such a gift. Thank you for bringing us a meal. I am wiped out and need to stay inside. Would you mind just dropping that off? And hopefully they say, of course, I'll just drop it off. Now, third question, how do you kindly tell those people who didn't pick up on my concern in question 2 to leave your home once they have overextended their stay? We all know someone who won't take no for an answer. No, I'm just gonna come in for a second. I'll just bring it into your, hey, it's me, I'm here. And they just open the door maybe and come on in. Just going into the kitchen, and then they stay. And all you're thinking is, I thought I asked you not to come in. Okay, you're here. Now how do I get you out without being rude? Oldest trick in the book. You have a baby, and that baby needs you. And you can excuse yourself to go feed the baby. You can excuse yourself to go whatever and lock the door behind you. Like, having a new baby is the get out of jail free card socially for a good semester of your life. So use it if you need to. And if that person doesn't get the hint when you leave the room with your baby, that's on them, and there's nothing you can do about that. But if you don't want people overextending a stay in your home when you have a new baby, this only applies when you have a new baby, use the baby and leave. Like, oh, you know what, I've got to go upstairs and feed the baby. I've got to, you can use that baby as a way to get out of the room. Now, you can also, thank you so much for bringing, you can use your words, you can use your gestures, you can start walking towards the door. Thank you so much for bringing this meal. Thank you so much. I'm gonna walk you out and give you a hug. Like, you're just gonna have to kind of herd them a little bit if they're not picking up. But man, I would encourage you on the front end, just ask for what you need. If you don't want people coming over, then say, thank you so much, would you mind leaving that on the porch? That is my best advice for how to navigate this tricky situation. Okay, next question. As a new mom at the holidays, which is a great time to have a baby, by the way, what should people realistically expect from you, if anything? New baby and holidays, what's the best way to anticipate needs here? Man, I'll tell you this. I think every new mom at the holidays gets all the passes in the world of, this isn't the year for Christmas cards, this isn't the year to host, this isn't the year to bring anything. Like, showing up in clothes with your children also in clothes might be the baseline expectation for a new mom at the holidays. The holidays are a lot, particularly if the mom has other children. Like, it's a lot. There are preschool programs, there are gifts to buy, there are, it's a lot. And so there's nothing sweeter than freeing a new mom of any expectations at the holiday. But here's the twist. Because like I said, there is not a one-size-fits-all answer. I had one of my babies in October. I actually I had one baby each season of the year. So I have a January, an April, an August, and an October. Just really nicely works. But when I had my baby in October, so we had like a 8-week-old at Thanksgiving and a 12-week-old at Christmas. This is just me, but I'm going to tell you my experience to paint the picture that like one size does not fit all. That year at Thanksgiving, it hurt my heart so much that everyone assumed that I did not want to do anything to contribute to Thanksgiving. Because what do I love to do? I love to cook. Having a new baby took that away from me because I'm just trying to survive, and I wanted to be able to contribute but wasn't even given the opportunity to. And to be fair, I should have spoken up, but live and learn. What I'm saying is, I think maybe not expecting anything from a new mom and talking to her and saying, we would really love for you guys to show up. We would love for you to, can you just show up? And if you want to bring something, let me know, but I don't want to put any expectations on you. If she wants it that way, she's going to receive that. Thank you so much. We're just so happy to be there. But if you give them the option to say, you know what, I really would love to bring something. Could I bring, I don't know what, fill in the blank, a bottle of wine or a salad or whatever. So realistically expecting probably a little less than normal from a new mom is a kind thing to do. And then communicate. That is our mantra today. As far as anticipating needs for a new mom during the holiday, it's like when you have a baby, things become heightened and options that seemed really obvious and simple become difficult. So the best gift that I can imagine, if I were going to someone's home over the holidays with like a wee tiny fresh baby, like maybe 8 weeks or less. Number one, you've thought through a place for me to change my baby's diaper that makes sense. You don't have to have a changing table, but maybe there's a blanket on someone's bed where there is a place where I can change his diaper. You have thought through that I'm gonna need a quiet spot to nurse this baby where no one's walking in and I feel safe, particularly if this is my first baby, still getting used to nursing, perhaps, if you're breastfeeding, if you're not, bottle, whatever. But I was always really nervous that at large family gatherings, some kid or some man or someone was just gonna barge in and interrupt me nursing because I wasn't able to like do it real discreetly at the beginning. Like you're just sort of like, it's a thing. So providing a quiet, private place for nursing. And then keep this in mind. New moms are thirsty, all the water, like all the water. They're hungry. And new moms go from sort of hungry to like, oh my gosh, I've got to have nutrition right now. So like constantly thinking, can I get you anything? Here's some fruit. Here, like anticipating their needs of thirst and hunger. They are exhausted, fatigued, so tired, like bone tired. So I don't know how you anticipate that need other than just being sensitive to the fact that they're really, really tired. So perhaps caring for their older children, entertaining their older children just helps carry that load a little bit at the holidays. And then worth mentioning, as a 4-time C-section survivor, there are several weeks where like everything looks like normal, but your body is physically still healing. And there's a little bit of perhaps pain, but even more like it takes a lot of energy for your body to heal itself. And so on top of the fatigue, on top of the nursing, on top of the late nights and the thirst and the hunger, your body is also exerting energy to heal itself in some way. And it just like, there's just not a lot to give. So anything you can do to pour into, to care for, to create a soft place for a new mom to land that takes in, like she may look put together that day. She may have taken a shower and done her hair and wearing normal clothes and put on makeup. There's a lot going on inside. And it may feel great for her to interact with a room full of adults, but man, anything you can do to acknowledge and be a soft, loving environment that takes care of her physical needs, I always found that to be so restorative and to make the experience of being in a group of people as enjoyable as possible. Okay, kind of a few other questions that are in the same vein. How to tell family politely to respect our decisions regarding baby. I'm assuming this means like decisions on how we're going to feed him, decisions on how we're going to raise him, decisions on how we're going to sleep train him, what we're going to name him, where we're going to put him in daycare, where we're going to like all the decisions that you as a parent make. How to politely ask your family to respect our decisions. This is a crash course in Boundaries 101. And if having a baby is your first foray into practicing boundaries with your family, welcome to the club. It is not for the faint of heart, but I will tell you that it's easier to do on the front end than down the road. First of all, you and your partner need to be on the same page. You guys need to be agreed on what you're committed to. And let's say it's a particular sleep training philosophy, and you have decided this is how you want to sleep train your infant, and that is your decision to make. It is also your decision to communicate to your family. Please do not go wake the baby up when he is sleeping. Now, how you navigate when or if that boundary is crossed is totally up to you. I think a little grace in the beginning is helpful for everybody, but also you don't want to alienate your family. They are there to love you and your child. You don't want to burn bridges because down the road, that family is going to love and support you. They're going to take care of that child probably. You want your child to have a relationship with their grandparents. And so navigate and tread lightly. But also, as with everything we're talking about, clear is kind. If it's your parents, you may need to be the one that has the hard conversation with the offending party. If it's your parents or your husband's parents, he may need to be the one that has the hard conversation with the offending party. And typically, their intentions are good. Typically, they want what you want, but also there are a lot of different ways to raise a child. And at the end of the day, you're the one raising the child. There is a balance between instilling the philosophy of parenting that you've chosen and also making a consideration for the fact that there are special times and places where maybe you need to learn to bend those rules a little bit. This is a much bigger conversation. I would want to have kind of a one-on-one with someone, definitely not a one-size-fits-all, but like everything else that we've talked about, clear is kind, ask for what you need, and be ready to follow through. Is it rude to ask a new mom? Is it rude as a new mom to ask for a porch drop? This is kind of like, I think we've already answered this, but no, it's not rude to ask for a porch drop. If you don't want people coming into your home when they bring you a meal, then you can figure out a nice way to say that. Mostly, I would want to tell every new mom out there that anything, not everything, but probably most things that you're wanting, it's not rude. It doesn't make you a bad person for wanting to attend to your needs in this time of almost trauma. Like having a baby is wonderful and you will never forget it. It's also a lot. It's not rude. It's not rude. You're not rude. You're not unkind. You can ask for what you want. Okay, we're going to shift gears now, and I'm going to answer the questions from people who are friends or family of someone having a baby. And I want to make sure that if you are the friend or family of someone who is having a baby, I hope you have listened to the last 20 minutes of questions that have come from people who are having a baby and hear how desperate they are for you to respect what they want and not get upset about it. It is our job as someone who wants to care and love for a new mom who had a new baby to actually care and love her in the way she wants to be cared and loved, not the way that we think it needs to be done. This is not about us anymore. This is about the new mom, and any of these questions that I'm about to tell you or try to answer, all of these are no longer about us. The group answer to every single question in this category is, it's not about you. It's about the new mom. What does she want? So let's dive in. This one is a doozy and not an easy one. My husband's brother committed suicide 3 years ago, leaving a wife and 2 boys. Our sister-in-law just got remarried last year and is now pregnant. I'm totally excited for her and have offered to host her baby shower. Do I invite my husband's family? First of all, I'm so sorry. This is a mess. This is a tragedy. This is really, really sad, and I can only imagine that everyone involved is having a lot of really big emotions. There's no way around that. In light of all the really big emotions that are happening in this situation, the question that you're asking is about a baby shower for a mom-to-be. A baby shower for a mom-to-be is about one person. It's about that mom-to-be. You need to ask her what she wants. Everyone in this situation has big feelings. Everyone in this situation is bringing baggage and trauma recovery to the situation. This is not just another baby shower. This is a big deal. There's a lot going on under the current here. You need to ask her what she wants. Does she want his family there? Then you invite them. Does she not want his family there? Then you're probably going to need to talk with them about that and explain why. Offering to host this baby shower is taking on a really big responsibility. You are now signing up for the job of navigating through what is probably a mess of family dynamics. And that's okay. You can do this. We do hard things. But at the end of the day, the answer here 100% lies in her court. Because what's the point of this shower? The point of this baby shower is to celebrate her and her new baby. So, if she wants these people here, and that is not a triggering, traumatic thing, then fantastic. But if it is, that's not serving the purpose of this baby shower. This baby shower is not a memorial service. This baby shower is not a family reunion. It's not a intervention. This is a baby shower for her new baby. And whatever decision is made needs to be made through the lens of hospitality, of whatever she wants here and however she wants to be celebrated. That's going to determine what happens. So my advice to this person is, you've got your work cut out for you. I hope the relational dynamics are strong enough that you've got the support you need to help navigate this. But this is a tricky one. And sometimes I think it's helpful to focus down on what is the point here? What are we trying to accomplish? We are not going to fix everything with this baby shower. No way. But we can figure out how she wants to be celebrated and execute that in a way that makes sense for everybody involved. I bet there are a lot of follow-up questions. I don't know the name of this person, but man, if you're listening and you want to ask follow-up questions, I'm here, because actually this question, we have talked a lot about this here as we've prepared for today. So I hope I've answered that well for you. If not, I'd love to hear directly from you and we can maybe talk it out. Okay, next question. Should you visit someone in the hospital after they've had a baby, not a relative? Again, not a one-size-fits-all. My husband, if you know my husband and you have a baby, you will see him in the hospital. Without fail, he's there. As soon as it's like appropriate for him to be at the hospital, he is there to meet your baby and to say hello and pray for you and leave. Every single time. Raise your hand if you know this is true. I bet a lot of you, he has come to visit you in the hospital. That doesn't mean that that's right for everyone, nor does it mean that every new mother wants visitors that are non-family in the hospital. So what's the answer? You have to talk about it. Text your friend. Ask your friend before she goes into the hospital, do you think you want visitors? And then hold space for the fact that once she has gone through childbirth, her answer might change. Her answer might be like, yeah, we're going to want all the people in the hospital. And then she has the baby. She's like, never mind. I can't figure out how to get out of bed. I don't want any visitors. Or it may be the opposite. I loved having people visit us in the hospital. Like, loved it. Had a C-section 4 times and like could not wait. Come see me in the hospital. So thankful for all the people. Like, bring me flowers, bring me like, I loved it. I ate it up. And that's, if you know me personally, like that's kind of counterintuitive to my personality because I love being alone. But man, when we had those babies in the hospital, I loved having visitors. I mean, to the point of exhaustion, loved having visitors. It's not one size fits all. You need to ask. So I think there's not a should you visit. If it fits the situation, then go visit. But keep this in mind. Do not stay very long. You show up, you see the baby, don't touch that baby, see the baby, hug the mama, hug the daddy, leave them wanting more. Get out of there. Nobody really wants you there for very long. I really didn't want people to stay long. But I loved seeing them. How long do you wait to bring dinner over for a friend with a new baby? I don't know. I mean, I feel like we live in the era of meal trains. I feel like a lot of this is dictated, like you sign up for a date, but if that's not part of the equation here, you need to talk to them and ask them. People need to eat. People need to eat every day. So from the time they get home, they're gonna need food. I would encourage you to figure out who you need to talk to get the answer to that question. I don't think there's a wrong answer. In fact, I think one of the best gifts is to take a new mom a meal 3 months later when the fun has worn off, she's in the thick of it, and a meal would be hugely appreciated because no one else is taking her a meal. So tuck that away. Okay, every other question that we received from people who were not the ones having the baby had to do with, there was a very food specific type of question. So I'm gonna rattle these off. Advice to someone who hasn't had a baby but is bringing a meal to someone who just did. Make it easy to consume. Do not bring them ingredients to prepare the meal because that's just inviting them to cook, and that's kind of not the point. We literally had someone bring us ingredients to make a thing one time as a meal for after a baby, and my husband and I were like, kind of missing the point here. So it needs to be easy for them to execute. If you have the bandwidth to cook something from scratch, homemade, or something like that, and you like to cook, that is a lost art in itself. if you have a thing that you make that's delicious and you have maybe the time and energy to make someone a truly homemade meal, that's a gift in a real dish. Like, that's rare these days. So if you have it, I know who asked this question, and she's an excellent cook, and I would say take them, just some fabulous homemade meal. Best handheld meal to eat while holding a baby to take to a new mom. This was fun. We were talking about this. And if you think about it, most dinner food is not very good. Like if you're nursing a baby and you're trying to eat with one hand, okay, salad is a terrible idea. Tacos are a terrible idea. Some sort of soupy pasta, like not happening. But what is good are breakfast casseroles, sausage balls, banana bread, quiche, all these kind of like firm, easy to cut into little wedges, and then you just pick it up. It doesn't even have to be hot. I just love that idea. A milkshake. I had the best chocolate milkshakes after my babies. It was just something I loved. A wrap. We talked about a wrap. But oddly enough, breakfast foods seem to fit the bill really nicely and would probably be kind of shaking up their usual menu rotation. So if they're getting a lot of like chicken casseroles or pasta bakes or whatever, you bring a breakfast casserole, that's amazing. In that vein, non-casserole meal ideas to take. This is tricky. I think you should roast them a chicken. Quite honestly, it just seems like, if you showed up at 4:30 with a fresh out of the oven roast chicken and said, let this rest for 30 minutes to an hour before you eat it, I want to like kiss you on the cheek. Like, that sounds amazing. And roast chicken is gluten-free, dairy-free. Those potatoes, most people can eat the ingredients in a roast chicken, and it's something different. And then, you can get your dish back. You can get your cast iron skillet back. You can get your sheet tray back, whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't overthink that. There's something really amazing about showing up at dinner time with hot dinner. Like that's a gift. So that would be my non-casserole meal idea to take. Of course, allergies, food aversions, that's a thing to consider. And since you are the person serving the new mom, remember that this is not about you. This is not about judging them or getting upset or annoyed. If you offer to bring a meal for a new mom, you need to respect their desires and wishes, whatever those are, and get along with your life. They're not yours, they're hers. So if she has a lot of food allergies and you want to serve her, then you're gonna need to get a meal that falls in line with those. Okay, the other little, just a couple of quick tips that we talked about, not related to a question. Number one, if the new mom has other children, feeding their children like a bag of chicken nuggets and a pot of macaroni and cheese is a gift. Don't forget that. Bringing over a hefty haul of paper goods is a gift. Like, here are all the plastic forks and paper plates, and don't even do dishes. Verbalizing to someone, do not write me a thank you note for this gift or this meal, just takes a lot of the pressure off of that. We all need to be grateful, but when someone looks at you and says, hey, don't write me a thank you note, I'm like, thank you for freeing me up from that. I can do something better with that time and text you thank you as I'm eating it. Last but not least, I thought I had one more thing. I think if you've ever had a baby, if you've ever been in these shoes, there is decorum that needs to be followed. We all need to be grateful, be kind, all these things. But I think the thing that struck me about seeing all these questions together was how new moms feel like they need to, that they're going to be perceived as less than kind or polite by asking for what they need. And I desperately want to encourage you, if you are a new mom or an expectant mom, learn to ask for what you need. This is good training for the rest of your life. And if you are someone on the other side of that and you hear someone ask for what they need, it is not about you. Let's let that sink in. That's the hospitality angle here about having a new baby. If you have any other questions, I'd love to hear them. I think we could definitely do a couple more segments around this, but we're out of time for today. Next week, what are we talking about next week? I think we're going to do the whole, we got a lot of questions about how to navigate the world of food allergies and food aversions in social settings. The holidays are coming up. Send me your questions. We have a lot to start with, but I'm curious what your questions are regarding the topic of food aversions, food allergies, and what to do in social settings regarding that. As always, this will be in a blog post, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and reactions to what we talked about today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely Thursday.